Shout out to the mama chief. Yeah, you be quiet when Big Mama speak. What she gave us is a part of me. It flows through my arteries. Even on that journey, that love grows how the garden be. The first to teach us when we sick, the first to heal us. Mama's boy, yeah, you know, her pride and joy. Soul food, yeah, you know, I'm an enjoy. Calm you down just by the sound of her voice. There isn't another feeling inside when they cheering you on at your game and you feeling the pride. You and your siblings fighting, she gon' make you put them feelings aside. She can't lead you down the road, but she can give you the guide. Where you think I get that blissful look in my eyes? I need a side of ice cream with lemons apple pie. You know for sure for Mama Chief, you know I'ma ride. Cause we all need a Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all love a Mama Chiefs. The greatness, the patience, the foundation, the knowledge passed down so many generations. Our motivation, I just want to thank you for my creation. Cause we all love a Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all need a Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all rap for Mama Chief. The dedication, I seen your tears at my graduation. Now look, my your boy that made it. You the reason I'm one of the greatest. Yeah, cause we all need a Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all love a Mama Chiefs. Yeah, we all rap for Mama Chief. Now be quiet, let Big Mama speak.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips and the balance of the favor of fair use. Welcome to Blended Healing. Listen, I know that many of us do not celebrate this time of the year for different reasons. But at the end of the day, we all have some type of semblance of family, dysfunctional and all. And I want you to remember that and carry that in your heart. You don't have to like them. And you can love them from a distance if that's what you need to do. But show some type of compassion if you can. Because everybody argues with their family from time to time. And that's normal. But sometimes you end up having a more serious argument with them. And these family conflicts can get out of hand and end up lasting for years if you're not careful. There are so many families that don't speak to one another. And half the time, they can't even remember why. We need to understand what the common stuff is that causes a family to even go through all of that. And what we could do in order to patch that up. Because it's all about communication. I'm getting the chills because I don't have neither one of my parents. And damn near lost almost all of my siblings, except for 3. I have 3 left. So, and then my family's very big, so I don't have the luxury. We all ain't speaking for whatever reason. Because this is the thing. If you get mad, not only just at your family, but mad at somebody for some other reason, some other bullshit, the question is that you need to ask yourself, is if they checked out tomorrow, how would you feel? If you checked out, how do you think they're going to respond to your demise? And that's the question I have to ask myself to get a reality check. Because I'm old school. So therefore, I'm I'm the senior person. And the way I was raised is that the younger people go to the senior person and get it out. But then when I'm looking at things, because maybe something changed somewhere along the line. Because I was told that if I got a problem with somebody, and if I really want to let that be known, go and have that conversation. Straight like that. You may not like what people say back to you, but you're going to have to swallow that shit. You know? You ain't got to throw no hands or nothing like that. But I'm saying, maybe because I was raised that way. So I always find shit like this really fucked up. Maybe I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm the one that's slow and should be on the yellow school bus. I don't know. I'm trying to understand because I don't get it, which makes people weird to me. Makes them weird. But I digress. I digress. Some of the things that usually are top of the list when it comes to family is that they lend money to each other. When I give out money, because I say give and not lend, I don't expect it to come back. And if it does, I'm blessed. But I already went through this dance already. Usually it's not a good idea because it's fine if they pay you back on time as they agreed that they would, but that usually doesn't happen, you know? And when people owe money to the family, it's easy for them to think it doesn't even really matter if you don't pay them back on time because they aren't a bank. But that causes a problem. The person that you borrowed the money from might be in a bit of a financial situation themselves, and they're going to need that back. And what it does is it causes resentment because they don't want to create an awkward situation by repeatedly asking you for that bread. But they also need it back. It can end up causing a huge split between you and that person. God forbid if the rest of the family jump in on it, because they're going to jump on either side. And then what happens? There's a bigger split in the family. If you can't give them all their bread back at one time, do it in increments. So that way you can avoid any problems. It's not worth it, man. And don't borrow money if you can't even think about how you're going to pay it back. Like I said, when it comes to me, when I give people money, I don't expect it back. Generally as a rule. So that way I'm not upset that I and I'll probably and usually I need it back, you know. But the divine makes a way, you know, because I don't give it with intention like that. I give it from my heart, which is another one of my downfalls. that I need to correct. It's a hard habit. I've been doing it for years. The other thing that divides a family is addiction. Yeah, that's a rough one. It can feel like you're constantly going back and forth with them, and it's easy to get frustrated and blame them. You see, some families will often blame their family members for their problems and decide that they simply don't want to deal with them anymore. And that ain't going to help at all. If anything, it's going to help them spiral some more. Instead, we got to get them into some type of addiction treatment, whether it's for alcohol, pills, weed, drugs, whatever, man. It's fucked up if you sit down and you think about that shit. In order for them to function, they have to be on a substance. No harm, no foul, no judgment. So I'm just saying. And we already know what the fight is because everybody else knows that they want to do an intervention for the family member, but the family member ain't there yet. And that's where the frustration comes in at. And what happens is, like I said, everybody thinks that it's tough love, that you have to get to them, because that's a better way to show them by example that I'm not feeding your addiction. I'll get you what you need, but I ain't gonna feed your addiction. Hmm. There's a lot of stories in the naked city around addiction in our community. And we know this is a difficult one, but we got to recognize that it's a long road, but they'll get there eventually. We just have to make sure that it doesn't cause any fights in the family in the meantime. This is tough, man. This is tough. Now I'm going to address something that's a little bit more on track where I want to go today. And that's sibling rivalry. And that's a big problem, especially when you're young because you're both competing for your parents' attention. And when you're older, that rivalry isn't quite as fierce, but it's still going to be there for the rest of your life. It ain't going to cause no rift on its own, but it does mean that the small problems are going to end up being blown so out of proportion and end up being huge arguments when they don't need to be. It's important to recognize that you and your siblings will wind up each other, and just to be aware of that, of any disagreement that you're going to have. Because let me tell you something, a family can be a beautiful thing. It could be a beautiful thing because we can celebrate our triumphs and comfort us in tragedy. And it is indeed special when a family can come together and be on one accord and help each other in this crazy ass thing that we call life. It's beautiful when we all get together. I don't necessarily have to talk to family members. Like I said, I got a big ass family. I talk to maybe one, two, three, and that includes my siblings. You feel me? I said it. It's true. Life is life and for everybody. But I think when your parents are out of the picture, then the family splits apart and goes their own way. But having multiple children around and siblings, it's a wonderful blessing. And as a parent, you are allowed to see completely different faces and personalities that come from you. And each and every one of them are their own individuals in their own way. And they have their own little quirks and things that you love about them. We got to nip this in the bud when it comes to these siblings because they need to be taught to really value each other. The oldest child should not have to shoulder every responsibility while the youngest child ain't got none. Case in point. I'm the youngest. I had to do some things, but nothing compared to what they had to go through. You feel me? They just got to me. They said, oh, shit. You know the rules, man. We ain't got to go through all of that. Yo, it was funny, man, up in the house, man. It was funny. Now that I sit back and think of all the stories, it doesn't matter if you have a son or a daughter or a boy or a girl. They should be catered to in a manner that allows them either to feel entitled. And that sounds crazy, but how you raise your kids will determine how the siblings will interact with each other. They can love one another, but if not careful, the ones that we're forced to be responsible for run the risk of being taken advantage of, you know? And it's unfortunate because that behavior is going to follow them from childhood to adulthood. Yo, never mind. I'm not getting into that. That's personal. But yeah, yeah. Well, a little touch on it. My sister, oh my God, she couldn't stand my ass when I was little. She couldn't stand me. One of them, anyway, couldn't stand me because we were close in age. And everywhere she went, she had to take me. She hated that shit. But I digress. You see, when you're a kid and you are allowed to grow up knowing that no matter what mess that younger, that you being, let's say you're the youngest one, no matter what the messes that you make, the older ones had to clean it up. So what they did is they had to learn to love you with conditions. Because you being the youngest one don't feel as though you have to be responsible for even your own self or any of the decisions that you make in your life. You see, that behavior causes a total disregard of the life challenges that your older sibling had to face. They don't see life as something they can handle as an adult. And everyone in their mind is responsible for their happiness. But your older sibling says, oh, hell no. Because behind your parents' back, they whipping that ass. One way or the other, they whipping that ass. But see, the parents must be sure to hold all their children accountable and teach all of them the responsibility. Because if you don't do that, it's going to cause a lot of friction in the family that the parents may not even see or even live to see. Our siblings in us, we should have been taught not to take advantage of each other. We should not have be taught to manipulate one another for gain. And these are behaviors that is taught by never having to carry your own weight in the family. And that's detrimental to everybody, especially them kids. And as a member of the family, as they will subconsciously teach their kids the same lack of accountability. You can see it, right? It's a bigger picture. It becomes generational. But here's when the rubber hits the road. Here's when shit happens and it becomes real. It's when a tragedy hits the family. And the sibling that takes will continue to do so despite the circumstances. Because that's their habit. And it's hard to be supportive when you are the one that constantly demands support. And that causes a rift in your family. Because as your children now have kids of their own, your grandchildren run the risk of resenting their aunt, their uncle that took from their parent during a tragic situation. Cousins will find themselves at odds as they defend their respective parent. The children of the sibling that takes won't understand why they can't tap the aunt or the uncle that's going through a challenge because they had never mattered before. You see how this is working out? It all stems back to how you were raised. And even if you didn't get raised that way, there's always some type of sibling rivalry. You see, in the eyes of my siblings, I was the one that got away with everything. Everything. But my mother set me up. Because I was the worst kid, man. I was the worst. I did more shit than a little bit, man. I was the worst. But at the end of the day, she set me up to be the one to take care of the rest of the family in the event that she checked out. And I always used to say, I'm the youngest. I need to be going to y'all. But no, when everything pops off, they all come to me. So you figured out how that happened. Really? How did that happen? I was the one that ended up taking care of everybody else. And I was a fuck up. I was a fuck up. But let me tell you something. My brothers were rough on me, man. But I can tell you this. I know they loved me. Because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Along with my parents, you know. My sisters, they but my brothers, my brothers and we were cool, you know. We were cool. We got cool. Some of us got cool, but then I have brothers that were cool. But I wouldn't be the person today without them, without their guidance and jacking my ass up all the time. You see, the family can find itself on the edge of serious infighting and a lot of discord, all because us as siblings weren't taught individual responsibility many, many years ago when we were children in our parents' house. Like I said, it's all about how you raise your kids to be responsible adults, to be a responsible family member. Ain't everybody gonna get along. That's simple. That's a fact. And we all are leading our own lives. But I could tell you this, if something pops off, I guarantee you we clicking up. And that's just the way it is. That's one thing that my mother always wanted, for her kids to click up, to be together. And she had her reasons for that. We should never misuse our siblings. We need to cherish them and support each other with reciprocity. And that makes a strong family as it grows. Love your family, man. You ain't got to be all around them, but start that conversation with them. Start that conversation with them and let them know that you're there to listen to them. Let them know that you walked away for some time, but now you're back. Let them know that you are here for them, but you will definitely put yourself first. Definitely. You can't just maintain a relationship with your sibling because your parent wants you to. But I tell you what, their wisdom of whatever they didn't have growing up definitely was passed down to their kids. So even though we do all this, growing up as adults, we try to find common ground. We try to find common ground. Don't go through life not talking to your peoples, man. They could be here today and gone tomorrow. That's the way you should look at that, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's the way it should be. How would you feel if they checked out? I'm not talking about your ego speaking for you. I'm talking about the person that's behind that. I'm talking about your heart. How would you feel? And that's all, and that's it. I'm done. Do the best you can around this time of the year, man. Make amends. Don't wait for them to pick up the phone. You pick up the phone. You know? Pick up the phone and call your people. All right. Be well, stay safe. Enjoy your holidays. Enjoy them. Enjoy them. All right, I'm out. I'll talk to y'all soon. Be well.
Keys to life, keys to life. Sister, keys to life, keys to life. My mama taught me the keys to life, keys to life. My father taught me the keys to life, keys to life. Now I apply all the keys to life, the keys to life. I hope you got you some keys to life. Sitting with the homies, we building on what's the keys to life. Smoking on this pack of sativa, it got me feeling right. Vocal sounding smooth on the Pro Tools, I can't hold you. Know they try to keep you quiet as soon as they know you vocal. Watch what you say on them tellies, fetties be tapping in. Learn, do your dirt by your lonely niggas and rap you in. Here's a gem, niggas is faking and jewels they flossing in. Find out when you meet them, the photos just be convincing in. Brody asked for 5, you know I'm sending a homie 10. Regardless what we go through, I promise to never mention it. Never let them see where you coming, you gotta switch it up. When you know your worth, you ain't signing, niggas ain't rich enough. Seen niggas screaming no Diddy, but sipping deli on. Came a long way from my younger days, was a petty one. Now I'm on my business and bust their heads on these parlays. Your opinion holds no weight, give a fuck what you gon' say. My mama told me the keys to life. My father told me the keys to life. Now I apply all the keys to life. I hope you got you some keys in life. My mama told me the keys to life. My father told me the keys to life. Now I apply all the keys to life. I hope you got you some keys and love. You can raise and rape, but it take a village to make them great. While everybody sleeping, I'm grinding, boy, I be wide awake. You don't be supporting, ain't trying to hear that you proud of me. When you need something, the only time that you calling me. Ain't no more helping, I really ran out of favors. The weed tastes better, I started rolling in papers. Phone on D&D, leave a message if it's important. And I ain't popping out unless money really to offer. I listen to y'all talking, it's crazy who y'all idolize. Shit, I need 100%, that's why I monetize. I can see a lot of me when I look in my daughter's eyes. I burn the world down for making my little son cry. I'm the same P, but grown, it's the better version. Not perfect what I'm doing, no, it's still working. You can't fit up in these shoes, these is mine, nigga. Without trying, boy, I still outshine, niggas. My mama told me the keys to life. My father told me the keys to life. Now I apply all the keys to life. I hope you got you some keys in life. My mama told me the keys to life. My father told me the keys to life. Now I apply all the keys to life. I hope you got you some keys in life.